This is what we call a shallow loop serpentine, and it's really an awesome exercise to get your horse supple, to get your horse round, to make sure that your horse is bendable on both sides. That's one of my favorite exercises. Everyone, today's video is about patterns and figures to train your horse. Honestly, one of the easiest ways to get your horse on the aids, to get your horse focused, to get your horse supple and through is just simply working on patterns and figures. I've put together my top 5 favorite patterns and figures into a PDF. Please click the link below to download your free PDF. It includes drone footage, it includes videos, it includes an awesome worksheet for you to fill out, and just like the best patterns and figures that are my students' all-time favorite patterns and figures to get their horse on the aids. The great thing about patterns and figures is if you're a rider who's like new, who doesn't know exactly how to train a horse up the levels, which let's face it, a lot of us don't, patterns and figures really simplify it for you and for your horse. And honestly, just riding from point to point gets your horse on the aids, gets your horse relaxed, gives you a focus and a purpose to your ride. So a couple of tips and pointers before we get into, I'm just going to quickly show you some of my favorite patterns and figures, but a couple of pointers. Number one is put out cones. So you see I have some cones set out here. These are just soccer cones. They're like plastic. You can order them from Amazon. I'll link below where you can get them. But setting out some cones or even like just a pair of gloves or something so that you have markers to ride to is really, really helpful. The second tip I have for you is focus on your horse's rhythm and tempo. So as you ride your patterns and your figures, count the beat. So if you're at the trot, it's 1, 2, 1, 2. Make sure that your horse doesn't speed up or slow down when you do your patterns and figures, unless you're asking for it. And then my third tip is 3 is the magic number. So usually I repeat a pattern 3 times. I feel like that kind of gives me enough time to get used to the pattern, to figure out what my horse is going to do in the pattern, where they need help and support. But then if you don't want to drill a pattern like 50 times because your horse is just going to get sick of it and frustrated. So I feel like 3 is kind of the magic number. Then I would change direction or try something different and come back to it. So I'm going to quickly show you some of my favorite patterns and figures. But like I said, click the link below to download your PDF so you can get access to the drone footage and all the awesome stuff that we have in that PDF. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to show you some of the patterns, but download the PDF because I go into a lot more detail about how to ride each pattern. But the first pattern is a shallow loop serpentine where you touch the rail, you curve out towards X, and then you go back to the same rail. This is what we call a shallow loop serpentine, and it's really an awesome exercise to get your horse supple, to get your horse round, to make sure that your horse is bendable on both sides. That's one of my favorite exercises, and it shows up at training level test 3. Okay, second pattern is the ice cream cones. This pattern shows up at first level test 1. You make a half 10-meter circle from E to X and then go back to the rail at H. Mercurio's banging out his fancy trot here. Good boy, buddy. And then you do the ice cream cone again at B. We call it the ice cream cone pattern because it looks kind of like a lopsided ice cream cone if you're looking from above. And again, this is a really good pattern to work on bends, to work on suppleness. And the beauty of riding patterns and figures is that they give you and your horse a purpose. And so a lot of times when you give your horse a purpose, it gets them to relax, it gets them to focus. And so without really knowing it, you're getting your horse on the aids. The next pattern is a leg yield staircase. So I'm going to leg yield over, then I'm going to go straight, and then I'm going to go over again. The benefits of the leg yield staircase are that they really help you to get control of your horse's shoulder in the leg yield, and they also help to really strengthen both hind legs of your horse. So over, I'm engaging the left hind. Straight, he has to push off the right hind. Over again, he has to push off the left hind. And I'm just going like super quickly through these patterns. So make sure to get that PDF where I really go into detail and explain how to ride each pattern, like what the aids are, help you with some problem solving, all of that. Okay, so the last and probably my favorite pattern is the snowman. This is a really good pattern to help you with your canter transition. Start on a 20-meter circle between E and B. When you get to the center line, you're going to make a 10-meter circle in the opposite direction. And then when you get back to the center line, you're going to change the bend and pick up the canter. If you're not ready to do it with the canter yet, you can just do it at the trot. But this is really, honestly, one of the best exercises to help you improve your canter. It helps to get your horse supple. I'll tell you a funny story. I was in a clinic and my horse was like a complete disaster. He was so tense. He was like in love with one of the other horses that we brought with us. I was riding with Conrad Schumacher and he taught me this exercise. It got my horse supple, it got my horse focused, and it turned like a really terrible ride into an awesome ride. So I hope you try this exercise. Boy, it's so fun to ride, and it really works for riders and horses of all levels. Oh boy. So those are just several patterns that you can ride with your horse. Like I said, go to the description, download the PDF because I go into a lot more detail, and I think I might have forgotten to include a few here today. But I'm just such a fan of riding patterns and figures for so many reasons, because basically they train your horse. So if you're like, I don't know what to do, I don't have a plan, I don't know how to move my horse up the levels, ride patterns, ride figures, get some cones to set out. That really helps to make sure that you're riding accurately. And especially if you're showing, riding accurately and riding these patterns and figures will help you. So thanks so much for watching. Be sure that you're a subscriber to my channel. I make new videos every single week, and when you subscribe, you'll get notified when my new videos come out. So thanks so much for being here.